How's everybody doing? My name is Tommy, and this is my new wood shop. I recently moved from Phoenix to Illinois, and I posted a video, I don't even know how many months ago, of my last shop, and I figured that I would take this video and just document changes, new location, tool layout, etc. So, right here, this is the main door to come in and out of the shop. Right next to that, I have my Delta Shaper up there on my phone screen. I have my new Foster to Adopt German Shepherd, keeping an eye on him for right now. His first day with us. Back to the shop. Over here, we have my sharpening station, which is currently being blocked by my Festool track saw and a piece of birch. Got to get those put in my lumber shed. To the right of that, I have my jet miter saw. Side note on that, recently put a CMT blade on it, and I have never used a better miter saw than that one, especially with that combination of blade. I really love it. I would like to build a small rolling miter saw station, but really don't know where I would put it. I would just like it to be rolling so I can pull it in and out because of the slider rails taking up so much space off the backside of the saw. So it's a would like to thing, not a must do. Up on the wall back there, I have all of my hand tools and saws, some miscellaneous supplies, sanding supplies, drill bits, Forstner bits, router bits, CA glues, whatever, chisels, they're all up there. I would like to actually make a tool wall like I had in my last shop, but this was here from the old owner of my house. He used to collect die-cast model cars, and he would keep them up on these shelves. So I figured I would just leave these here for now. Saves me money and not having to buy materials. Moving on down the line here, we have my Powermatic 141 bandsaw. This is kind of a new location. I just reset up the shop yesterday, or a couple days ago, so I think I like it here. I don't really know. I got plenty of in-feed and out-feed, but we'll see if it stays there. To the right of that, I have my Powermatic 90, what's called the bandsaw, lathe, and I like it here just because it's in the corner. It's not in the middle of the room. I don't really need to get on the other side of the lathe ever, so I don't know, I might want to move it in the future, but for now it works well there. As soon as I build a tool wall, I'll have my all my turning tools hung up like I did in the last shop too, so another project for the future. To the right, I just have a cabinet front template for potential clients. A little dusty, but it is what it is. Beaded face frame with a cut on the doors. Behind that, just my Fuji sprayer, hose, couple extension cords, one for 220, one for 110, Craig jig, some edge banding, and then I have my sheet good materials for my current project. So whatever I'm working on currently can stay in the shop. Obviously, the piece of ash is not or is not considered a sheet good, but it's in here anyways because it's being used or recycled for this project, which is my latest furniture build, lounge chair. I also have a video on that, and go check it out. But yeah, so anyways, I keep the sheet goods in here that I need for my current project, and it seems to work out well in that space, although like I said, I reset up yesterday, so we'll see if it stays there. Moving on down, I have an air conditioner in here. My shop is insulated, which is nice, although that garage door over there is not, which I need to do because I'm in Illinois and it's going to get cold. But during the summertime, that's super nice to have. Definitely a luxury item. And I do have a small space heater in here. I'll get to that in a minute. But we've had a couple of cold days already this year, and or I shouldn't say cold, I should just say chilly days this year, and that warmed this place up really quick. I guess I didn't talk about it, but the actual dimensions are the shop inside wall to wall is 24 feet. And then our depth is 15.5 feet, I believe. So it's not quite deep enough to set the table saw up right here and run material that way, coming in through that door. But for summertime setups, that could be fine. Anyways, Powermatic planer, 5 horsepower, 3-phase. I wired up a static phase converter and just have it set right down here. And then my fiance's father came in and I was gonna say helped me wire this place with a bunch of 220 outlets, but I wouldn't really say I was much of help. He was here on days when I was not, and he took care of that for me, so much appreciated there, Alan. Next to that, I have my Delta DJ20 8-inch joiner. I really like this machine. I've had it for a couple of years, maybe not a couple of years, maybe a little over a year. I can't really remember. But I had a Grizzly joiner, 6-inch joiner before this, and that just, every time I turned it on, felt like it was falling apart. This thing, rock solid, along with that planer. So, 2 great machines, both bought used. Highly recommend buying stuff used. Oh, I forgot. That is just my whiteboard that I hung up in here for current projects or possible projects. And then receipts I hang on the wall in between the flag and that of whatever I'm working on currently. I have my TC Woodworks sign or banner hung up in here. I made a little oak frame. That was actually the first project that I made in this shop. And then right beneath that, the first project that I ever made is this terrible American flag with mismatched materials throughout. So I think it's kind of cool. My first project in this shop and my first project ever right there. So there's that. Moving on down, I got a trash can. Next to that, I have some foam insulation that I use to just cut on. Behind that, I have another piece of ply. It's just 1/4 inch. I do not have 8-foot ceilings in here. Would love it if I did, but they're just shy of 8, so standing up anything that's a full length of ply does not work. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. In the corner, I have my jet dust collector. I have been watching a bunch of guys online convert similar dust collectors to 2-stage dust collectors instead of the single stage, and I think that is something that I'll probably do in the near future in between projects, whenever there's a little bit of spare coin laying around. Moving on down, I have my Rubo inspired workbench here that I also have a build video on my channel. I don't really like it up against the wall because I like to be able to get around all 4 sides of my workbench, but it does fit nicely there. So it's fine for now. I have a bunch of material laying on the ground. I'm doing some built-ins. So I got some poplar, 5-quarter poplar, and then I have some walnut. There's like one 6-quarter piece and a bunch of 4-quarter. And then I have some white oak here as well that all of this was actually given to me again by my fiance's father. So another shout out to Alan for hooking it up with this. All these pieces came from a few of his old properties. So turn them into something nice. Over here, I have my clamp storage. I was originally just hanging them off shelves like this because that's what was in here over here, but built a little French cleat clamp station, and that seems to work out pretty nice. That's all of my clamps right there. I don't have anything else, so if I do end up with more, which I'm sure I will at some point, I'll have to add to it, but for now it's all good. Over here in the corner, I have my Delta drill press. The machine is an absolute beast. I don't know what else to say about it. Drill straight holes, I guess. It's got a Dayton motor on it, and somebody rewired a switch on the side. Go through and I think I said this in the last video, I was going to replace the switch, but as you can see, still have not done that. So get around to it eventually, but for now it's a good machine. I saw Mike Farrington on YouTube make a drill press table with a fence and used a CMT hinge boring machine on it, and I think that's what I will eventually do with this drill press, or for this drill press, just because I really like the functionality and not having to have a dedicated machine to drilling the cup hinge, I can't think of it, holes for cabinets and such. So sorry, I'm spacing on words, but yeah, I like that. So moving on over, I have my Outfeed table. Much different than my last Outfeed table that did not really provide any storage for underneath. Although I felt like it did, it really didn't, because there's a whole lot of stuff under this bench that I was not able to put under the last one that ended up just hanging on the wall. So built it a little bit different. I thought about putting drawers in, and I just said forget it, no, it's fine the way it is. So I keep my routers in here. I have a few routers. The old owner of my house left a bunch of his stuff in here, so I've got a couple of free routers, or I shouldn't say free, paid for the house, but you know, whatever. And then just like my last Outfeed table, I put the router stationary base or fixed base underneath, and the router for it. Now I also have the fence from before. Check out my last video and I had it in there. But yeah, that works the same way. And I just have more infeed and outfeed for the router, which is nice. Moving on around, I have a bunch of trim for my house. A couple of pieces ended up getting broken because I was cutting them with my miter saw that had a dull blade on it when I first got here, because I'm an idiot and didn't change it. So I got a couple of pieces that I just got to cut the ends off, and they'll be used for shorter sections, but whatever, besides the point. Here is my saw stop. I have the 1 3/4 horsepower, and I have no complaints as far as power. You run a good blade and you don't have any problems. So all the tools in here are the same as they were before. In my last shop video, I have not added anything. Just some stuff you might not see because I don't have it set up. Like my compressor is laying on the floor attached to a hose reel, and my mortiser is also laying on the floor, or sitting on the floor, just because I don't have a place to put it. My backup lathe that was given to me by a good friend of mine, I have not yet found where I want to put it. I'll figure out a spot. I also have a 4-car garage, or it's 2.5 wide, 2 cars deep, right outside this door, and I might put couple of the tools in there just to kind of free up some space. Like maybe the chop saw goes in there because I only use that for rough cutting and trim work, so that might go in there along with that lathe, just so I can keep the tools that I use day in day out in here. And then right back around to the Delta shaper. Above the shaper I have my table saw blades. It kind of works out well, just as long as you're paying attention when you come in, you know. And again, that's a new position for that, so see if it works out. I like the shop. It's got some windows, so I can actually work in here and keep the door closed, keep the wind out, cold, whatever. It's actually a super nice day outside, so camera's not really going to pick it up, but yeah, so it's nice to have some windows. But other than that, that is the general gist of my shop. I know I'm just kind of rambling here, just moving the camera around, but it is what it is. Just want to document it for, I don't know, 2-3 weeks when I decide to move things around again, if I have time. Another note that I want to make is that all of my major tools have more than 8 feet of outfeed space, infeed and outfeed. So my joiner and planer, I don't really like having the planer up against the wall like that, because I like to be able to move around it a little bit quicker than having to walk around the entire joiner. But it does work, it is fine, especially because of the rollers on top. You just, when the material comes out, set it on top, walk back on the other side, whatever, you know the deal. So I do have more than 8 feet over there. Actually, I think I have just about 8.5 on the outfeed side of the planer. And on the infeed side, I probably have, oh, I don't even know, way more than that, probably 12 feet. So it could be balanced a little bit better. I'll probably roll it around a little bit, but just for the sake of keeping the sheet goods over there and being able to get them out, it's in that place. Not that I really run anything that's longer than 6 or 8 feet through that thing anyway. So same thing with the joiner. More than enough room on both sides, and then the table saw, most importantly, has more than enough room on both sides. I do use these rollers. I have set one up here, set one up over there, so I can kind of get situated right before I make a long cut. And then this roller over here will go kind of right in the center. So as the material is coming off, if I do want to push it further, I can push it right up onto my workbench and not have any obstruction or anything. You got to set it up just right so that the roller does actually work with that. But like I said, I still have more than 8 feet before I even hit that workbench, so it works. The other thing that I want to make note of is all of my main surfaces, with the exception of the joiner being a little bit lower, all my main surfaces are built at the same height. That was part of the problem I had in my last shop. I was a new woodworker and I did not build everything at the same height. I just built it the way I thought was most comfortable, which sure, if you have a huge shop, you can do that, but I did not. I was in a one-car garage, and it was not even a, how do I say that? It's not even a bigger one-car garage. It was about as small as you can possibly get, but I made it work. And I made some modifications as I went and learned from my mistakes. And I applied that all in here, which is definitely nice. Having a space like this, I'm definitely pretty fortunate to have a third building on my property that I could just dedicate to a wood shop. I also do have a shed that is wide enough where I can keep some longer materials. The material on the floor, the walnut and oak, is eventually going to go in there, just so I can keep it out of the way until I'm ready to use it and build something for my house. But like I said, very fortunate to have this space and keep all the dust and everything away from my car and my truck and my fiance's car. So there it is. That is the new wood shop. Been here for 4 or 5 months, or at least set up for 4 or 5 months, and I'm enjoying it so far. I keep changing things, so again, this is just me documenting the way things are right now. Next time I do one of these things, I can almost guarantee everything's going to look different. Alright, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a great day.